Good evening and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live via SHR Media and streaming live on Facebook this evening. It is just a beautiful, beautiful evening here in Cape May County, New Jersey. It's a little chilly, but it is the fall. It's not quite winter weather yet, so that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. My guest this hour is Jendayi Harris. It's such a gorgeous name. Jendayi Harris, and she's going to talk to us today about the Chubby Church, a call to break free of weight and eating bondage. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what does that have to do with money? Well, when you consider all the money that we spend on our health and on fast foods and on and anything in that area, health is directly related to what we eat and our diet. So I figured I'd squeeze that in there. I might have twisted it a little bit, but that's okay. That's why my name's on the show. I can do that. I want to say hi to Kim Sharp in the Facey chat and Daniel Johnson, John Campbell. How are you? Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today. And I just thought that the topic was just so interesting, and you guys are going to love her. This is one of the guests that I met in person and at the National Publicity Summit in Manhattan a few weeks ago. And she's just an absolute delight. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy her. Hey, Alice May, how are you? I hope everybody is enjoying their Black Friday, not overdoing it too much, not working that credit card too hard, not tearing up that not tearing up that debit card too much. Hi, Gavin. Welcome to the Facey chat. Oh, Kim Sharp says she's going to tell us what it has to do with money. What you eat for years leading up to your latter years in life make a huge difference. I'm in big trouble, Kim. You eventually pay big time for your eating habits. Well, there you go. So Kim handled that for me. Christopher Harris, welcome, of the Unhyphenated America fame. Welcome. I'm so privileged that you're here. Anyway. So before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. If you're not following me on Twitter, please do. And there's two places to follow me. You can follow the show at Money Talk Mel, or if you dare to follow my political musings, it's not for the faint of heart. You can follow me at NJGOP Diva on Twitter. Also, please hit up my Facebook page. My personal page is full, but you could like the show page at Money Talk Mel on Facebook. I am also on Instagram under Melanie T. Collette. So you can follow me there if you like. If you Google me, you'll find all the places where you can listen to the show. All the podcasting platforms possible: Spotify, iTunes, Blueberry, Google Play. I'm everywhere. Money Talk with Melanie is everywhere. Hey, Alice May. No shopping for Alice May today. Good girl. Be careful. Okay, so in Money Talk news, what's going on? Well, it's Black Friday, like I mentioned earlier. So shop. Unfortunately, we had a couple of terrorist attacks in the Netherlands as well as in England. So just, people be careful out there. The Taliban and Al Qaeda are not very happy about what we've been doing to decimate them abroad, and it seems that they are showing their displeasure by means of more terrorist attacks. So just please be careful out there. I'm actually a little bit surprised with one in the Netherlands and one in England that nothing happened here, but I'm very glad. Just please stay safe. In other Money Talk news, they're saying that before I move on from Black Friday, according to at least on LinkedIn, what's trending on LinkedIn, they say Black Friday sales could hit $7.4 billion. And that just goes to show how high consumer confidence is and how well the stock market is doing, how well our economy is doing, because it's not just a matter of the stock market doing well, but it's a matter of the fundamentals doing well, that are doing well as well. That's really not what I wanted to say, but it's the fundamentals as well that also matter. So our fundamentals are strong in addition to the stock market being strong. So it just goes to show that they're not really worried about impeachment. They're not really worried about all this nonsense that is going on outside of the market, which is interesting because typically when a president is quote unquote in trouble, or there's impeachment hearings or things like that going on, the stock market kind of reflects that in jitters. But I think that we are also very close to getting a deal in China with the China tariffs situation. And I think that is also helping. And I'm sure the fact that President Trump pulled back on I think it was December 15th, tariffs that he was going to impose, that they're doing so well in their talks, he decided to pull back on that. So that's also good things happening in the market, and consumer confidence is still pretty high despite all the foolishness that's going on in the media. The shipping wars are heating up for the holidays. That's also according to an editor at LinkedIn. Apparently, Amazon is spending $1.5 billion with a B dollars this quarter to expand its free one-day shipping, which I took advantage of actually just yesterday. And both Walmart and Target are offering next-day shipping on items that cost $35 or more. So that's something to be on the lookout for. John Campbell's going to like this next item. I think he is a gig worker, and I'm a gig worker, and there's a lot of people who are gig workers out there. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the U.S. Census Bureau is seeking 500,000 part-time and temporary workers for the decennial census. And the article does say that underfunding may corner the agency into operating on a cheap. We hope that doesn't happen. The government operating on a cheap. Oh no, say it isn't so. Hi, Jendayi. I'm so glad you're in the Facey Chat. Welcome, Doug Pause. Welcome to the Facey Chat. So if you are looking for a part-time job, some holiday money or something like that, you might want to contact the Census Bureau because they are hiring 500,000 people. Doug Pause is shopping and not liking it. Doug Pause in the Facebook chat. Also, my unpaid publicist who just publicizes my show oh so much, and I am greatly appreciative of that. You guys rock. So I'm going to come back in about 3 minutes with she calls herself Jay because I think because she's got this beautiful name, Jendayi, but not everybody can do it. So we're going to call her Jay, and she's wonderful. You're going to hear her personality just come through. I know it, and you guys are going to absolutely love her. So we'll be back in about 3 minutes. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. My guest this hour is Jendayi Harris. She's going to talk to us about the Chubby Church and a call to break free from our weight and overeating. So very excited to have her. We'll be back in a few minutes. Brand new Ron Edwards notebook coming your way right now.
Recently, a gaggle of drag queens staged a slavery-style auction to promote and raise money for Planned Parenthood. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, among the participants in Spokane, Washington, were several black drag queens who hate the United States because of slavery that was abolished back in 1865. So I was mildly surprised to learn about black drag queens in Washington state mocking pro-life activists and local pro-life Christian ministers by auctioning off cardboard cutouts of their faces, mimicking a slave-style auction. The drag queens are some of the same individuals who read books to and try to normalize their unnatural lifestyle in the minds of little children, much to the chagrin of parents who would be forbidden to share the love of Christ in a public place such as a public library. The auction was organized by Spokane United Against Religious Extremism because Christian parents exercised their right to express opinions against drag queens sexually exploiting and grooming children. Wake up, America. The republic you save may be your own. I'm Ron Edwards. And check out the ronedwards.talkspot.com for news updates and other great stuff. Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let their expert credit repair specialist remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies, fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service, all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our number one priority.
Making a living can be tough these days with so many jobs going overseas. If you love numbers and puzzles and want job security, you can become a tax specialist with an amazing 6-month tax course from Tax Mama. Operate your own tax practice locally or anywhere in the world where there are American taxpayers. It's a great way to write off your trips to visit family for months at a time. Everything you need to pass the IRS 3 special enrollment examinations is included in this course. Visit irsexams.school. And if you need more than 6 months, that's okay. Take your time. You're in the course until you pass the exams or until you unsubscribe and reject Tax Mama's emails.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I am so excited about my next guest. Her name is Jendayi Harris, calls herself J for short. She's going to talk to us today about the Chubby Church, a call to break free of weight and eating bondage. I'm so excited to have her. She's a minister of practical advice on how to do life in Christ well. She's a licensed professional counselor, senior productivity consultant, board-certified health coach, and board-certified national counselor. She believes the best thing we can do for our families and nation is to get healthy in body, soul, and spirit. Jay speaks at Fortune 500 firms and churches alike with an affinity for coaching Christ-centered leaders to optimize their time, personality, priorities, and resources to powerfully impact the kingdom of God. And without further ado, Jay Harris.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
All right, awesome. Great to be with you. Such an honor. Thank you, Melanie.
I am so excited to have you on the show. Eric Jessup just arrived in the Facey chat, and Eric says, God created us to eat. He's just saying. and Pastor Carl Mitchell in the Facey chat gave that an amen. But was there anything that I did not include in your bio that you wanted the audience to know?
No, that's more than enough. Thank
you. You did a fantastic job. So, first of all, tell us about the Chubby Church and the title of your book. I found the title of your book just totally intriguing. I think when I met you, we went a little bit over time just chatting about your book and how interesting it is. Why did you write the book, The Chubby Church, A Call to Break Free of Weight and Eating Bondage?
Absolutely. I wrote the book because, really a call. It felt like a call to write this book. There were a lot of diets that I've been on in the past, and the diets just couldn't get me what I was looking for. Even though we have a lot of different options as far as the diet, the dieting mindset is actually killing many people, including believers. So what really attracted me to write this book was a call by God. And I had gone through the weight and eating battle my whole life, and I had gained and lost 50 pounds 3 times. And through that experience, I was learning body, soul, and spirit, that there was more than just meets the eye. There's a psychological part, a soul part, a spiritual part of the weight and eating process. And it actually does affect our pockets too, Melanie. So that's why I wrote the book.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think that, when we think about losing weight, I think probably I'm sorry, I had to chuckle, Deontay Johnson, who is pardon Deontay Johnson, who is the president, I believe, of, I was going to say Black Lives Matter. That is not the organization. Black Voices for Trump. Total opposite organization. Black Voices for Trump. And he just commented in the Facey chat, new hair. Which, yes, it is new hair.
That looks great.
Thought that was funny. But anyway, I think the soul part is probably the part that we neglect the most. Would you agree with that or no?
I absolutely agree with that.
And what is the soul part exactly?
Okay, so the soul part is your mind, will, and emotion. From a scriptural standpoint, there is when God breathed the breath of life into Adam, he became a speaking spirit or soul. And the word soul actually is rooted in psychology. The word psychology or psyche is your personality and what makes you you, which is a huge factor in how you live your life, your mind, will, and emotions, your mentality, your perspective, how your decisions are made, your values, everything comes out of that soul. And what happens is we just kind of have this body perspective. Let me figure out what to eat and figure out what, how much to exercise to lose weight, and let's eat some lettuce for breakfast. And all of those are really important. But there's also the soul part. And so in the book, I talk about factors such as grubology, right? The psychological reason of why we overeat and eat excess, as well as chubology. The psychological reasons of why we use weight to self-protect. And these are major factors because, Melanie, I had a family friend, great family friend, who died on the way to church, okay? Anointed man of God, left behind children, left behind a spouse, because he could not deal with the soul part that was causing him and driving his eating and weight decisions. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And when you look in your church, and I'm sure some of us right now are looking at the body of Christ where we attend, and can probably think of a person or two, if it is not us who are having that same issue.
That's right. Everybody knows somebody who may be a member of the Chubby Church. Amen.
Amen, sister. And it's really intriguing because I think from a spiritual perspective, you think of things like, oh, that's gluttony, that's sinful, but it goes deeper than that.
It absolutely does. And we can't keep shaming like the gluttony thing.
Right.
There are reasons why we can't just eat one chip, where we can't just eat one cookie, There's reasons why, and food is engineered to get that. God gave us the order around food, and it's right in Genesis 1:29. He says, eat all these great green plant-bearing, seed and plant-bearing foods, because he wanted us to eat a lot of his food. Which we call them whole foods. We even have to have laws for organic type of foods, which is really crazy. In other cultures and countries, they don't need to put a label organic on their food. Their food is whole and from the earth. Our food in America, which is a wonderful nation, love it, but a lot of our food is processed. And this processed, engineered, man-made food, where you have executives in high places getting you to try to eat this food, right? And it's tasty. So of course we're going to eat it, and of course we're going to like it, and we're going to overeat it. So what's wrong with that is financially, it's affecting our country in big ways. As far as what the obesity is costing us with heart disease, diabetes, all of these health issues can actually cause our society over time to absolutely implode. The debt is incredible for what it can do. So we have, as people, we have a responsibility to take care of our body, soul, and spirit, and that's what the Chubby Church book is imparting.
Wow, that is, now see, that's some deep stuff, sis. And I think I said that to you when I met you. Said that's
deep sister.
That's the stuff right there. You're a deep sister. You're preaching right now. So, tell me about why we overeat. You mentioned grubology, which I think is hilarious. I'm stealing that, just so you know. I'll give you credit, but I am definitely stealing it. What is this grubology?
Okay, grubology. Okay, what grubology is about is when you have that unbelievable craving to go eat, right? Like, so you're relaxed at home, and all of a sudden you start thinking about donuts or crackers or chips or cakes or ice cream, and you need to go make a run to go get those things, or you have them right in the cupboard, so you go grab those things, but you're eating more than you should, right? You had already eaten, you're good to go, but you have that overwhelming sensation to go eat more. This is what I say is like a grubology episode, because grubology is why we have that need to go overeat, and what it really is a need unexpressed. So some people have learned when you grow up like I did in a fatherless home and issues in your household, okay, you may not understand that your needs are valuable and even what they are. Some people are not even in touch with what their needs are. So instead of going to the cupboard and to do the overeating or McDonald's or whatever you do, look at what am I needing right now? And a lot of times it's to call a friend. You may need connection. You may need affection. You may need support in some area. You may need just comfort in some way. So you have the Holy Spirit if you're in the Lord. You also have friends and connections and family and people that you can call on. But what we're doing is we're misplacing the need for that human connection through food a lot of the time. So it's Grubology is looking at our needs. What are they? Sometimes even financial needs, right? When you're financial and anxious and stressed, your cortisol is going up. When your cortisol goes up, your insulin goes up. When your insulin goes up, you have your cravings go up, and you eat things that cause that cycle to continue, which is why obesity stays in place. So I just really encourage people to Grubology is looking at that need. What am I needing right now? Getting in touch with it and knowing that you are worthy and deserving of having those needs met in a healthy way.
Okay, so a light bulb went on while you were talking. I was listening. Is it a situation where you want to feel better? And it may not be it's not necessarily about food, because food doesn't make you feel better, but it's a temporary kind of high.
Yeah. I mean, you absolutely feel like your need, when you have food, it's chemically going to affect your brain, your limbic emotional system, especially the types of foods, high fat, high sugar, high starchy type of foods. They're going to affect your brain and provide a sensation of comfort and ease pain in your emotional body.
And, the ironic thing about it is, at least I'll speak from my own experience, it seems like about 20 seconds after you finish that, like the high is very temporary.
That's right.
And then you're like, yeah, right. And then you're like, why did I do that? That wasn't cool. And that's not going to be helpful toward my goal. Then, you go into beat yourself up mode, right?
Right. That is the inner glutton and the diet nut. You beat yourself up, and then all of a sudden you need a new strict diet. You have to fast for 10 days, and then that fails, and then you wake up in the morning, and right. So
2 hours into the 10-day fast, it's over.
Exactly. And you know what? It's like, this is a bondage. We're looking at it as we're looking at it as a lot of different things, but what it is a weight and eating bondage or stronghold. And that is what we're calling. God made food for you to absolutely enjoy. The problem is, are we looking at his food, or are we looking at engineered food? Well, that's the issue here. And it's like, when we keep eating the engineered food, man has a goal, which is avarice. I mean, there truly is a problem when it comes to where money is there's a money God in the country, right? There's a money God in the world. And there's a money God. And so we can worship God or we can worship mammon. Those who worship mammon don't care if it's costing health problems, early death, low quality of life, this psychological bondage that's distracting you from your God-given purpose in the world and to impact the world. Instead, no, you're just too lethargic to go anywhere, do anything, or be more than that you're called to be. So these are real struggles that are gripping people.
I know you're in the chat, and I don't know if you saw this or not. Pastor Carl said, "Lord, someone's going to get delivered on this show." And you did see it. I wanted to make sure that you saw that.
Amen. Thank you.
I'm serious, because that what you said was real deep, right there. About and especially the part what hit home for me is the part where you said that God wants you to enjoy his food. Because I think early on, Eric Jessup early on in the chat was saying food is for us to enjoy. And that's not wrong. Right? That's not wrong at all. But what food were we talking about biblically? I don't think we were talking about my Oreo cookie flurries that I love so much.
And they're reason you love them so much. Okay?
Well, Kim in the chat said that sugar is more addictive than heroin.
Right. So studies have proven and shown that sugar is just one molecule nitrogen atom, one nitrogen atom different than cocaine. So it is actually more addictive than cocaine.
Wow. Well, that explains why it's so hard to kick the sugar habit.
It really is. And it's not like, I don't advocate any harsh diet I don't advocate any diet. I just advocate being much more conscious, mindful what you're eating, why you're eating it, and having some level of body and food freedom, where you love your body, how God created you, and then some people say they've made additions, but you're doing your best. You're doing your best for body stewardship, and body stewardship and soul stewardship and spirit stewardship does require your attention. We can't continue to be in neglect around these things, or even in ignorance, or just pretend, oh, I just eat whatever I want and God doesn't care, or you don't care. It's your family cares. So the people care about you. And if we don't take time now to take care of our health, guess what? Your loved ones will be called to take care of you later. And so we just want to make sure we're minimizing the impact on our finances. That's why a lot of healthcare plans will give you money back if you go to the gym, if you take care of yourself. It's costing the economy and people so much money just not taking care of ourselves.
It is very true. And I mean, I find this, I was talking during the open about the gig economy, and one of my side hustles is I sell life and health insurance, and your life and health insurance costs will definitely go up if you are overweight, if you are on any medications. These are all things that they check, and depending on what kind of medications you are, diabetes
right.
and high blood pressure, and some of these things are genetic, but many of these things are related to our diets.
Yeah, in fact, this research shows 5 to 10% of disease is related to, even cancer, are related to genetic factors. That means 90 to 95% are what we're eating, and drinking and consuming, and the lifestyle that we're living. So obesity, health disease, chronic diseases, diabetes, heart disease, cancer in America represent 90% of the $3.3 trillion in healthcare expenditures per year. Obesity alone is $147 billion of that.
Now, that is very true. And I want to ask you about the BMI, because I feel like you're going to know the answer to this question. Now, well, I feel like the BMI that my doctor wants me to be would make me look like I should be on one of those commercials, please send money because this poor child has no food. Like, I would be really, really
right.
thin. So, I mean, is that something that you use as a guideline? Is that something that we're all supposed to use? Does it depend on body type? Like, how does it?
Yeah. I mean, there's ranges, right? So a normal BMI is for women is anywhere from like 20 to 23, 24, somewhere around there. And so you want to be in the range, even if you like a thicker body, like you may like, I was running at a point in time and got really thin, and I actually didn't enjoy it. I wanted a little bit more curve in my body. So you can be on an upper end of that spectrum of the BMI is what works for you, but that's our most reliable metric, because even clothing sizes, Melanie, are changing. Like what used to be a 6 is now like an 8 or 10 in some clothing companies. I mean, because the market we are as a nation getting fatter. 66% of Americans, if not more, are overweight or obese. The clothing size isn't as reliable, so the BMI is one of your best metrics, and weight isn't even reliable in itself because that can shift so much day to day. So you want to aim. I think a BMI goal is a great aim to have, and then what range that feels most comfortable for you.
No, I think you're absolutely.
Healthy range.
I think you're absolutely right about that. I noticed that the more expensive the clothes, the less accurate the sizing is. Like Black House White Market, love them, love their clothes. But I also wear like 2 sizes smaller in their clothes. I'm like, come on now. Now you're just playing with my head.
Right. The manufacturers are playing with our heads. Exactly.
Pastor Carl says too skinny is not cool. I'm not sure if I think he's just talking as a dude in general.
As a man, Exactly.
That's the feeling that I get. But no, that is absolutely true. Now I want to ask you about our chubby suits, about chubology, because there are many people. I think I don't know. I think men probably do this as well. I was going to say it's a lot of women do it, but I think a lot of men have those chubby suits as well. What is a chubby suit?
A chubby suit is when we're using weight to self-protect. So sometimes when we've been through some stuff, okay, whether that's sexual abuse and sexual abuse can be self-imposed, like promiscuity or, all kinds of history in that way. We can use weight to self-protect. We can use weight. In fact, several of the course mates. So I tested this content at the Potter's House in Denver, and it was remarkable that those who felt verbally abused in childhood and emotionally abused, those were the ones who struggled more with their weight and eating problems because their soul doesn't feel safe in the world, right? And we are all pieces of God. We all have when I was learning from Rabbi Messer, a awesome teacher of the Word of God, he would say, your God is in your neighbor. When you look around, if you don't feel safe in the world, you're going to have problems. When you are against the world, you're going to have problems. So there's a soul safety God did in my own personal soul that has to do with healing my past and healing verbal, emotional abuse and healing sexual abuse and just being okay with my attractiveness. That helped me to come out of this thing for good. It's not about just losing weight and gaining it all right back. It's about how can I permanently just stop this bondage in my life.
Whoa. You just floored me with that, because I'll tell you, I had heard about the association between the chubby suit and sexual abuse. But I had never heard of one. You said it could be self-inflicted, like promiscuity. And I would imagine that if you were promiscuous just because, nobody ever, put those standards in place for your sexual life, and then you become a Christian, I would imagine that even though you're forgiven, that comes with a measure of guilt.
That's right. You got it right. And it's so much easier to have the church spread than, people don't want to be in promiscuity or drinking, right? They want to have that. But the food is safe in the church. I opened the book with a picnic story. We're always looking at the picnic like, what happened? Something wrong with this picture,
right?
but the promiscuity and the drinking and drugging and clubbing and all of that isn't, okay. But the food thing is, and we still need to we really just need to be aware. It's not about I'm not the food police. It's not just about food. It's really looking at our soul and how mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually well we are as a person, because I'm really much wanting Americans to be whole and free.
And I have never heard of verbal abuse being associated with that. And what you said about that, about your soul not feeling safe due to verbal abuse, that's deep.
It is.
That's real deep. We're up against a commercial break. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about what you just touched on about us being free. You said you want everybody to be free, and you talk about a dieter's mindset versus a freedom mindset. And I want to talk to you about that when we get on the other side of the break. Does that work for you?
That works for me. Thank you.
Excellent. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. My guest this hour is Jendayi. I wanted to make sure I got it right. It's Jendayi Harris, otherwise known as Jay Harris. She is dropping some serious knowledge on us about the Chubby Church and how to break free. Make sure I get this right. A call to break free of weight and eating bondage. But she's dropping some serious knowledge on us about how to break free from eating bondage. And so if you're just tuning in, make sure you go back to the beginning of this podcast and listen to it again, because you missed some really just salient points. And now I'm a minute late for my break, so I'm going to do my break. And we'll be back in a few minutes.
Making a living can be tough these days with so many jobs going overseas. If you love numbers and puzzles and want job security, you can become a tax specialist with an amazing 6-month tax course from Tax Mama. Operate your own tax practice locally or anywhere in the world where there are American taxpayers. It's a great way to write off your trips to visit family for months at a time. Everything you need to pass the IRS 3 special enrollment examinations is included in this course. Visit irsexams.school, and if you need more than 6 months, that's okay. Take your time. You're in the course until you pass the exams or until you unsubscribe and reject Tax Mama's emails.
Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let their expert credit repair specialist remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service, all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our #1 priority.
And we're back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and my guest this hour is Jendayi Harris. She's talking to us about the Chubby Church, a call to break free of weight and eating bondage, dropping some serious knowledge on us. And she's in the Facey Chat, people. If you're listening via SHR Media and you're not in the Facey Chat, you should come to the Facey Chat and check it out because she is in there live. And I appreciate her being there and answering some of the listeners' questions. Before we went to break, she touched on one of the things that Jay said is that she wanted everyone to be free. And so I was asking about how you can replace a dieter's mindset with a freedom mindset. First of all, can we explain the difference between a dieter's mindset and a freedom mindset?
You got it. A dieter's mindset is the mindset of, it's actually technically, and I'm a licensed professional counselor, so I'm saying this from that angle in Colorado, is really an eating disorder. I mean, that's one of the things I didn't realize, that binge eating disorder is a real deal. And that's when we eat a whole lot in order to, and then exercise it off or try to fast it off. We're always compensating for poor eating behavior. And I love what one trainer had said, you can't outrun a poor diet, right? Eventually it's going to come up to you. So there's mindsets that are associated with being a healthier person. For example, one of those mindsets is thinking, let me just pick up the book here. In chapter, it talks about adopting a freedom mindset. One of the mindset is thinking that, you need to cheat on it with a diet. So some people say, oh, I'm cheating, or, they're talking about food. Yesterday for Thanksgiving, okay? Some people can't just enjoy the pie. They got to be like, oh man, I'm feeling guilty because I ate a piece of pie and now I'm off my diet, or I'm cheating on my diet. This is not healthy thinking. This is bondage thinking. That's the dieter's mindset. What you want to do is really learn how to enjoy your food. Eat it slow. Know what it is. Maybe have real food, homemade pie, and really take your time with it and releasing that guilt factor from it, but also not doing that every day. I mean, we can't be eating desserts every day. So if you didn't know that, that's a news flash for some. But dessert is not something that should be a daily thing in America's culture, okay? And dessert may need some changes. For example, you may need to make some tweaks to what is considered dessert for you. But food is to enjoy it. We're not to cheat on diets. We're not supposed to be living that way. We're supposed to be being healthy. And being healthy, when you're in a monogamous relationship with healthy eating and living, you're going to have some foods you just really enjoy that are only delicious some of the time. That's normal. That's normal behavior to eat the cupcake once in a while and enjoy your food. If you're in a monogamous relationship with healthy eating, you don't need to cheat on your own self on your diet or food. So letting that dieter's mindset go and expanding your definition for health. Another one is food has morals. Brownies are so bad. Food has no morals, people, just like money. It has no morals. It's the person behind us. And we can actually project that our bad psychology, our low self-worth onto food. And that's why we can't seem to change and improve, because we still don't have a good self-concept of ourselves, a true self-esteem.
Back up and say that one. Back up. I'm sorry to cut you off. Back up and say that one more time. You cannot just gloss over what you just said.
Okay.
Back up and say it one more time.
That food has no morals, and we can sometimes psychologically we can project our low self-esteem onto food. For example, you're drinking all that cola and all that soda, knowing that you shouldn't be doing it, right? Soda can increase your chance of diabetes by 30% just from one drink. And you're eating a bag of chips and you're thinking, this food is so bad. This food is so bad. Well, what you're really telling yourself is, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. This is what needs to be healed. This is the soul part. And the thinking, the mindset, the bondage mindset is going to say, food has morals and it's about food. No, it's you. You need to heal that food has no morals. It's just what it is. Some food's really delicious. Some food's engineered to be super delicious. But there's no such thing as a morally good or bad food. There is, however, our own self-esteem and projection of it onto food.
Girl, you were not like, oh my goodness. I'm gonna need to recover from the show.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm gonna need to sit somewhere, and I have something to go to tonight, but I'm feeling like I need to go sit somewhere and meditate, and I feel like my audience is probably thinking the same thing. That is deep, like real deep. And I've heard it. It's not information that I hadn't heard before, but I had not heard it in the context of in a spiritual context, which is just so important. Okay, so I think what this is probably a perfect pivot to talk about emotional eating, which is what a lot of us do, right?
Yeah.
Is there a way to prevent us from eating emotionally? I think it could be a positive emotion or a negative emotion, right?
You got it. I mean, mostly it's negative. It's when we feel triggered. So when you're triggered emotionally, a trigger is any time you feel like you're overreacting or you're starting to implode, whether you drink too much, eat too much, smoke too much, go to addictions in any way. You may also just, shut down emotionally. So we know we've been triggered when these things happen. And for me, I was married in the past, and when I was my marriage, when my husband was out one night, I just felt so low, and I ate all this pizza and Cinnabons and all kinds. It was just all kinds of crazy mayhem. So I call a therapist and get help, and I'm just like, okay, there's something's wrong with me that I'm eating like this. And it's obviously more than my body can handle, right? And so when I look at emotional eating, I hadn't heard it or felt it in context that I actually had to heal from it, which was I was deeply triggered. My husband's absence triggered me deeply in an emotional place called father loss. My dad was murdered when I was 12 years old, and this affected me in a deep way when my husband when I perceived the emotion of abandonment or neglect. So what happened was I went to food to heal and stuff that place. Well, when I had healing through the therapist, through God, when my healing came and that real root of that emotion was dug up, I couldn't eat like that if I wanted to. And there were times I wanted to, but there's just no way. I just could never eat like that again, ever. And so it was just amazing to have that deep layer of healing. And obviously that affects your pockets, that affects your weight, that affects your health. When you just have it, the deep emotional healing. So in my book, I outline exactly, I call myself an emotional fitness trainer. Of everything I do, at the core of it, I want your soul to be strong. And your soul to be so strong, you're not offended easily, you're not moved easily, you're rooted and grounded in Christ, and you have the ability to handle and navigate those issues of life, disappointments, there's lots of things that happen in life, anger, there's upsets, but how can you handle it without harming yourself or somebody else? So how can you start to not have it derail your whole week and you're just able to move through that? That's what emotional fitness is. And when we learn how to be more emotionally fit and deal with our soul, like one of the things that chubby church members like myself don't do very well is feel. And we learn not to feel. We have to learn how to feel. God wept, right? Jesus wept. The feeling is a God-given human emotion that's awesome. And we get to experience a depth and breadth of feeling. But we got to get good at it. We got to get good at how to feel. And when we're good at that, we journal it out and start to get in touch with who we are, which is part of your soul is feeling. And feeling isn't to be running your life. Feeling is to be information for your life, if that makes sense. So this book is really supportive to that journey of you becoming a whole and free person. And in seeing how food is just one of those ways that God uses when we have these weight and eating issues in our lives. I'm talking to those of you that have gained and lost 20 pounds more than once, that have struggled with dieting, who have deep issues with your body. You can barely look in the mirror. You feel shame. And you know that you have health issues. You have chronic disease. You have prescriptions. That's who I'm talking to on this call. And you know it's costing you money, right? Which is why you faithfully listen to Money with Melanie, because it's a great show. but more importantly, like, you know, like, you need to heal greater. So this is why you want to get emotionally healthy. And it's just imperative for you. It's not just about you. It's for your future, too. It's for generations after you. It's not just about you.
That is excellent. Now, Kim in the Facey chat wanted to know, I don't know if you saw this or not, wanted to know if what you were talking about fell in line with habitual eating. Like, is habitual eating part of that situation where you're probably not healed with something, and so as a habit, you just eat?
Right, exactly, and breaking some of that, but it's not just habitual. This is book one. The book, I strongly encourage you to get it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at thechubbychurch.com. Just get the book. If you get it on Amazon, send me the receipt at info@thechubbychurch.com. But because book two is coming out next year, and book two goes through food addiction and really gluttony and what that looks like and feels like, because some of the chemicals, you're habitually eating the substances. It's an addiction. And we don't talk about food as an addiction because, like, we have to eat. I mean, this is one of those rare things that we don't have to do cocaine, right? We can cut that off. We don't have to drink a bunch of vodka. We can cut that off. But when it comes to food, you have to eat.
Yeah, that's true.
So habitual eating isn't just what it seems. There's a habitual eating piece that's emotional that can heal, and then there's an habitual piece of eating that is completely physiological with the chemicals that we're eating.
I'm wondering if it's like, so Kim said, is it like always eating snacks when you're driving? Like, I know somebody who smokes and always smokes while they're doing certain activities, and I would imagine it's the same thing. It's just a different type of addiction.
Yeah, that's true. The environmental part.
Okay, so just two more things I want to hit on before I go. What you told us where to find a book. Say that nice and loud and clearly, because I'm sure people are going to be picking up your book. Say that one more time, and then after that, if you could give us just some quick and dirty tips on how we could be healthier, I'd love that. Your best quick and dirty tips.
Oh Lord. Get the book, right?
Yeah, hey, absolutely. All right, well, give me like your third best. They'll have to read the book for the first best.
My first best would be just look at what you're eating. Look at the ingredients. Okay, look at what you're eating. Look at the ingredients, and start to try to get your ingredient list down. So basically, it's great to eat something that says apple, one ingredient or two ingredients, right? Versus all the stuff that you can't even pronounce. If you can't pronounce it, guess what? Your body's struggling to deal with it as well. The second best tip is to do some body cleansing. Learn how to do a colon cleanse, a liver cleanse, parasite cleanse. Third tip would be to emotionally start journaling. Feel your feelings and let yourself just feel. And fourth tip would be stop dieting. Really learn how to live one day at a time, decision with God, making those decisions.
I love it.
Chubbychurch.com.
I love it. Thechubbychurch.com. Check it out. If you think you got some wisdom in this hour, I have a feeling if you do a deep dive into those books, you're going to really get some wisdom. So pick up that book by all means. And Pastor Carl said he needs to get you at his church. And I was thinking the same thing about my church. I think Pastor Rudy would love you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really need the help. Thank you.
You did an awesome job. Thank you so very much for coming on the show.
Thank you. You're awesome.
I hope you're going to come back, right? Because you have a second book coming out.
I hope so. Yes, I would love to come back.
Thank you so very much. I want to thank Jendayi, first of all. Jendayi Harris is her name. The name of the book is The Chubby Church, A Call to Break Free. Let me make sure I get this right. The name of the book is The Chubby Church, A Call to Break Free of Weight and Eating Bondage. There's some serious knowledge that you're going to get from this book about how to break free of weight and eating bondage. Just an excellent guest. I'm sure the book is excellent. I haven't read all of it, but I've read some of it, and it is just fantastic. You want to pick this book up and have her speak at your local church if she's available. How can we reach out to you to do any kind of speaking?
Yeah, definitely reach out to me on Facebook, Jendayi Harris, or the Chubby Church. You can just put a comment in there, info at the Chubby Church. I am so happy to come speak at your churches. I've been speaking for years and want to impact as many people as I can. So I do need your help. And so, yes, reach out anytime on Facebook.
Excellent. Jendayi, you have just been fabulous. The people in the Facey chat said this has been a fabulous guest. I agree. I knew she was going to be from the second I met her. I just really hope you'll come back on the show. You did a fantastic job today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. I want to thank everybody in the Facey chat. So many people in the Facey chat today. Kim, Doug, Carl. Who else was in the Facey chat? Eric Jessup was in the Facey chat. Jendayi was in the Facey chat because she was just hanging out with the listeners. I appreciate you guys so much. All of you guys who are listening to the show via iTunes or Blueberry or Google Play, I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for downloading Money Talk with Melanie. Remember, all of this is very important because after all, it's your money. Have a great weekend.